right. Are we good to go? Here we are, all right. Hi guys, welcome. It is nice to see you. I eventually will need this remote here. All right. So yes, this is to follow up on my third trip to Haiti, which you guys paid for. So I do appreciate that. As soon as the PowerPoint gets going. Well, first of all, why did I get involved in Haiti? It's a country that most people haven't even heard of, or if they've heard of it, just been in passing. They don't vacation there, you don't go there. Why would you do it? Well, my mom. Somebody invited her to go there in 2016 on this medical mission trip to this little country, and she came back fired up. She said, "Jeff, you need to go with me." And I said, "What a wonderful idea. I'll talk to my congregation." You guys agreed to do it for 2017. Unfortunately, she had some surgery that she didn't really recover from, so she could never make a second trip. But instead, I'm carrying on the legacy. Let's see which way this works here. Okay, here she is in the orphanage of Tomazo. I was going to recreate this photo, go back and say, "Mom, here I am in the same place." But the hurricane that went through here 2 years ago took this out, so it wasn't here anymore. I couldn't do it. Now this is one of my favorite photos of hers. She said when she picked up this little boy, he very softly rubbed the back of his hand on her cheek and then looked at the back of his hand. He wanted to know if the white would come off. Also, this is a good picture. The lady you see over here on the right, is this a laser? Which one's the laser? There we go. Yeah, this lady right here, she's the one that introduced her to the Haiti campaign. So I dedicate this to my mom. I'll wave to her. "Hi, Mom, how are you?" And then I'll turn off the lights and we'll start talking about Haiti. All right, so lately, if you've seen anything in the news, Haiti, there's been a lot of riots, a lot of disturbances, a lot is going on. This was going on while I was here. It had really started about the day before we got there, and it was escalating every day. Every day, people were rioting. The crowds were getting bigger. They were getting angrier. And personally, they had a right to be, as far as I'm concerned. Every day we went to our destination, we'd have to drive a different route because stuff like this was going on all over the city. They knew where it was. This is actually about a block away from the hotel that we stayed at. This building right here is right across the street from our hotel. So as you can see, there was a lot going on. There's a lot of angry people, that's for sure. There we go. I really freaked out when I saw this picture. The Delmas 28 Church of Christ, where we held the clinic, is at the top of this hill. You could stand on the steps and look downhill and see this bridge. Now the medical mission is so big that it takes 2 weeks. It takes 2 sets of doctors, 2 sets of people to do this. Normally I go to week 2. This year I went to week 1 because they needed me to fill a hole, no problem. On Wednesday of week 2, they were notified that they had about 5 minutes to evacuate the Delmas 28 Church of Christ because this was coming down the road. This is tens of hundreds of thousands of people angry, and anything American, anything rich, they are really angry at. And I'll tell you why. I'm a photographer. I love a powerful photograph. That's a powerful photograph. That says a lot right there. Notice how skinny that man is? The entire nation is skinny like that man is. And there's a lot of reason to be angry. But you know what? The police haven't been paid since January either. Haiti is a country that, I'll start at the beginning. It is the most successful ever slave revolution. This was a nation full of slaves. Slaves outnumbered white people about 10 or 11 to 1. I can't go into the full history because I don't have time, but this was actually a successful revolution, the only one in history of the world, a slave revolution. We know Spartacus, we've heard about Spartacus. He was a famous slave. Well, he lost. He lost badly. This nation here survived somehow, but in doing so, man, they were isolated. You know that America freaked out. Southern plantation owners, when this revolution in 1805 was successful, I mean, the Civil War was still, 60 years away. Black people in America, in Southern America, outnumbered white people about 10-1. So you know that the white slave owners were freaking out in America. So they did everything they could to crush Haiti. You know they did. Now, is it because they were black? Probably. We know that black people have been abused, they've been stolen, they've been, sold into slavery. Anything you can imagine has happened to black people. That's just the way it is. I don't know why. And yet, I didn't choose to be born white, and they didn't choose to be born black. They are God's children. Did you know that up until the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s, the Mormons taught that black people had no soul? None. Can you imagine that? They're human beings. They are God's gift to the earth, and yet they have been denied all over this world basic human rights, human elements. Long story short of why Haiti is so broke, in order to become a nation, the World Court said they had to pay reparations, a word that's been coming around these days, they had to pay reparations to France because the people that owned the plantations that were killed in the revolution, they were French. Now they were ordered to pay, it was like $55 million, but in 1820, that $55 million, that is billions of dollars now. So in order to be a nation, in order to have trade with any of the world, so to Haiti to pay off that debt, all the money they would collect would go to that debt. There was nothing left for the people, for the infrastructure. So that means there's not enough money to go around when they collect taxes, and that just breeds graft. That breeds evil. I mean, you can't buy anything, you can't do anything without money under the table when it comes down to it. Okay. Now, do you think I can change this? Can I change this world? Can I change this culture? Absolutely not. But I truly, honestly believe that God can change this nation. And I believe that God has a plan. And here, it might be one of those plans. One child at a time. That's how the difference is made. That's how you improve a world. One child at a time. You raise a child with morals, with standards, at least they have a chance. That's all they have. The name, Hope for Haiti's Children. Hope is the key word. A lot of times this may be all they have is hope when it comes down to it. Now I will talk about poverty and what that does to people. But what it does in countries of poverty, the value of human life, it is diminished, especially in the lives of children. I'll explain some of that. You see the look at this? I can't even look at this photo. You see the look in this kid's face? Whew. That's it, sad. The definition of sad. There is hunger. There is hopelessness there. But you know what? I think God has a plan. Okay. This is Sunday morning. This is Saturday night. We've all gotten together the very first day. We get together, we're going to go to the Delmas 28 Church of Christ for service. On the right, you have Ken Beaver. On the left is his wife, Rhonda. Back in the late 80s, they were invited to come to Haiti. Somebody says, come see what we are doing in Haiti. And of course, Ken's response was, I'm from a congregation of, 90 people. What could I possibly do to help? But you know what? He listened and he took the chance. He also had a prayer that blew me away. He said, Lord, show us what you want us to see. I was like, no, That's intelligent. Show us what you want us to see. And God was listening. Here's a few more. This is the only time we dressed up with ties. Okay, you made them look good. Overall, for this medical mission, there was about 33 people for this week. And for the second week, there was 40. The town of Port-au-Prince hasn't much changed. Because of the riots, we got to see a lot more of it. Normally a 20-minute drive, it'd take us like an hour and a half to get to our destination. So I get to see a lot of the city. Not many people own cars. So this is how you get around town. You rent motorcycles from people. My record is 5 people on a motorcycle. I don't have a photograph of it. It was 2 kids on the tank and 3 people on the back. That was a sight. Motorcycles zoom in and out. Wherever you go, you have to really watch out for them. If you don't, as you can see, they're sitting here waiting for a bike or a ride. They're on every corner, trust me. If you don't take that, this is quick. They have these things called tap-taps. Converted trucks turned into buses. They're called tap-taps because if you want to stop, tap-tap, you stop. This was a view from our bus as we're going down the street. It kind of showed a lot. If you zoom in, you can see this gentleman he's going to band practice. There's still some culture in this city. But also shows just how polluted it was. Oh man, it was polluted. There are no trash services. I've been there 3 years. I've seen a trash truck 1 time and I have no idea what it was doing. Because trash is burned. You just burn it. That's just the way they do it. Oh, I gotta show you this one. I passed this by a couple times and I'm still confused. I used to think, it says Église du Christ. That's Church of Christ. I used to think it said like maybe Church of Christ Scientist or something like that, but then I learned to read and I was even more confused. Église du Christ, Church of Christ. Sans is without, and fi is like strings or wires. So that could be Church of Christ Wireless or Church of Christ No Strings Attached. I'm not real sure. The entire country is just a flea market. There are stores, but not many, because most people cannot afford to go to a store. So everything is sold on the streets. And now these are hard-working people because they get up at sunrise, they put up this stuff, they stay there all day. Sunset, they take it down. Anything and everything you want to buy on the streets is available. This is a traffic island where they set up a furniture store. They would have to clear that off every night. This is a gentleman delivering 4 chairs on his head. That's a talent right there. These are hard-working people. Like I mentioned, there's no trash service, so it just gets piled up everywhere. And the smell is just amazing. It gets burned. This is on top of a hill. When you pile trash on top of a hill, what happens to it? It rolls downhill. And this is where people live. This is a shanty. This is what people have been forced to make do with. There was a time when this city was really pretty. It really was. I bet you didn't know that during World War I, America actually invaded Haiti and took it over. They just took over everything. They were there from 1915 to 1934. But they put in a lot of the infrastructure, and it was really a pretty city. You see photographs of the old Haiti, and it looks like Hawaii. It looks like colonial Hawaii. But still, the black man was working for the white man in charge. There's a lot of sitting around in Haiti because there's not a lot of jobs to do. There's a lot of idle hands. That's just what they're up against. Oh, let me show you one thing. This barrel here, this is not a trash barrel. This is a drinking fountain. Okay? If they can get water, they pour it in the barrel, and it goes through some kind of whatever little filter they have, and it would trickle down, and they would use it from the hose. So that is running water right there. Like I mentioned, they burn trash everywhere. That's just, you get used to it. My head was so clogged. I didn't smell anything for 2 weeks when I got home. This is the common scene in the town of Port-au-Prince. I mean, this is poverty. When I took this picture, I didn't even notice, but there's over here in this corner, there's a little girl, and she's just smiling as can be. Kids don't know that they're poor. They don't know they have nothing. I've been all over the world, and children are the same wherever you go. They just need a chance when it comes down to it. Another scene of a city dump. And you can notice there are pigs. There are pigs running around in this dump. But there's also something I didn't notice till I got home. There's a person in this photograph. See his legs? His backpack? He's digging in here. I'm reminded of that story of the prodigal son. You know, he found himself, the pigs were eating better than he was. Delmas 28 Church of Christ. Let me tell you some stories about this congregation. First of all, this is where it started. When this congregation started back in the late 80s, it had a budget of $30 a week. That may seem like a lot, but this was the budget to start a church, $30 a week. It grew and it grew. This church has started 120 satellite congregations throughout the nation. 120. They have started 10 churches that have schools. You're going to meet several of them here as I show you through. Back in 2010, during the earthquake, it happened like at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. School was in session. They had a nursing school that was here. It collapsed. It killed everybody. Nobody survived. But you know what happened? I'll back up a little bit. In Haiti, the culture is very different from ours. There's a lot of different things that are very subtle. But one of the most important things of Haiti is family, immediate family. If you don't have immediate family, you have nothing. If you're an orphan, you are completely on your own. But this is family. Family comes first. Family comes over everything. You'll see these dirt poor people with 8 kids. That's their social plan for the parents. Because one of those 8 kids is going to grow up to take care of mom and dad. That's their social plan. So, when this thing collapsed, the entire neighborhood collapsed. People from the congregation came and started to build this building first. And the neighbors saw that. And the neighbors are like, what are you doing? This is not where your family is. You should be building your own home. But the congregation members said, this is family. This is family. This is where we are. Now, I've talked about before, when we have communion, I can be in another city and go to church and feel like I'm home, feel like I'm with family, and it's no different here. So the neighbors took notice that people came and built this building first without building their homes. And now it's a 3-story beautiful thing. The congregation meets on the first floor, the second floor is the classrooms, and the third floor is the college. This is the picture of the sign. Gentil Elmira, he is the minister. He's the man that invited 4 Americans to come to Haiti to see what we can do, see what we are doing. Gentil Elmira, he's got glaucoma. The man is 90% blind. Do you think that affects him? Think that slows him down? Now, glaucoma is genetic. It is not caused by nutrition. A sad fact that we learned from the medical mission, out of almost 2,000 kids that we saw, they found about 13 cases of childhood glaucoma. Now, the doctor was amazed. He said, I've been a doctor for 40 years. I've never seen childhood glaucoma. And they found 13 cases in 2 weeks. But it's genetic. It's because of this isolation, which I'll explain. This gentleman here next to him, Jean-Baptiste Girard, Jean-Baptiste Chéry, John the Baptist. He is his helper. They go everywhere together. They are truly God-loving men. This is the sign that hangs outside of the Delmas 28 church. The first sign, it says Christian College. You can go to college there. The second sign is preacher school. It's a preacher school. You can learn basically how to be a preacher. I've met some amazing men that are there. And the bottom sign is for the nurses, the nursing school. But you can see it says, Family Memorial School of Nursing, in remembrance of the students that were killed there. This is a picture of us on the 3rd floor. Okay, the gentleman in the red shirt is Lysias. What is it? Let me see here. Oh yeah, Lysias Luslande. He is the principal of the school. We are now friends on Facebook. To his right is, I forget his name. Oh, Johnny. That's Johnny Lang. He also works for Hope for Haiti's Children, and they're giving us the tour. They're showing us what's in the building. This is one of the classrooms. This is actually Sunday school. If you would notice how the kids, how packed they sit, how tight they sit, they're like sardines. That's just one of the customs that's different from us. There's no thing as personal space. It just doesn't exist. They are so close. When children get around adults, they are quiet. What a concept, I know. They are quiet around any adults. You watch them by themselves, they are just 100% children. That's what they do. But around adults, it's very different because they are quiet. The only problem with it, that I see with the custom and the family, they don't know Jesus' second greatest command, which is love thy neighbor as thyself. They don't know that. And of course, to follow up the first greatest command, love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. But outside of family, they don't have that concept yet. And that's what we try to teach them. All right. This is the main building, the main room of the auditorium. About 300 people, normally. And the nicest thing was, there was air conditioning here. I was stunned. A former member had gone to America, made a lot of money, paid it back, sent money to here. They rewired the place. They bought a generator that works. They bought a PA, and they had air conditioning. My biggest disappointment of going to Haiti, I didn't lose any weight. I was expecting to lose about 4 or 5 pounds from working in a hot 110 degree all day, but this was air conditioning. Now one thing, I just took, I'll back up. I wanted to hear the singing. The singing in this room is phenomenal. Low ceiling, concrete, it just bounces, and it sounds so good. We got there a little early. I saw that they had a new PA. They had this big old PA, and I'm like, uh-oh. The lead singer, the song leader is going to be loud. So I said, okay, I'm going to go sit on the side because I want to hear them and not the song leader. So I sit over here by myself. Now I take a picture and I just set the camera down because I wanted to show you guys. But what you can't see, there's a family on the other side of the lady with the yellow over here. I'm sitting there by myself. I look down the aisle and this little girl is looking at me and smiling. I see her leaning over and looking at me and smiling. Of course, I smile back. She whispers something to her mom. Mom looks over at me, expressionless, just looks at me, looks back at the girl, shakes her head, yes. So the little girl comes over. This is right before church. She motions down to me. It's like she's going to say something to me. And I lean down, and dude, she kisses me on the cheek. And then she sits right next to me. I mean, right here. All of a sudden, I look up and her friend comes and sits right next to me. Just out of the blue. Luckily, there was another photographer there and she took a picture. And you can see the look on my face. I was floored. And you see the way this girl is looking at me? I will never, ever forget that look right here. That look of love of her looking at me. And by the way, do you see what I'm sitting on, guys? That's a church pew. Okay? It's a 1x12. Church service lasts 2 hours. Don't get any ideas, preacher man. But yeah, I'm sitting on this thing for 2 hours, and class is 1 hour before that. So enjoy your soft pews. Trust me. But when it comes down to it, that look on my face, that's what it's all about. Now, I will admit, I don't know if those girls remembered me from the previous year. I have no idea. I hadn't been to this congregation in 2 years. But that's kind of the way the kids are. When they see love, they give it back. Now children, I will admit, my entire life, children have done that to me. Out of the blue, they just come up, they want to be with you, they want to know you. I feel like Santa Claus sometimes. I don't know why. I used to think it was because of the blue eyes, but it has happened when I'm wearing sunglasses. So to me, it's a responsibility. It really is. I grew up in a town where I saw where boys were abused. My friends, my neighbors, my classmates. I've seen the pain that can cause. You know, most of my friends are dead now because of it. And that's just horrible. So it's my responsibility to show kids how adults should treat children. But I really can't explain why they came up to me. I have no idea. Everywhere we go, we attract attention. As you can imagine, we're a big yellow bus and a bunch of white people, you know, in a black nation. Everywhere we go, people are wanting to know, what are you doing? What's going on here? We really do. So remember that prayer that God, show me what you want us to see. After we left Delmas, we went to the Kazoo orphanage. Now there are 72 kids here at this Kazoo orphanage. I know them pretty well, I really do. They sang for us. It was kind of neat. We get there, they get all organized, they sing for us, and there was something missing. I immediately knew something is wrong. I don't hear a voice that I used to hear. The girl holding the soccer ball, Flabi, man, she had this voice that would just escape from a crowd. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just an angel. But she had turned 18. Legally, when you turn 18, you have to leave the orphanage. Very hard. And the kids couldn't tell me where she was, and I was really sad. Luckily, week 2, she actually came and showed up to show everybody that she was doing good, and I can happily report that Flabby is good. This photo is hanging on the wall by here, by the way. That's one of my favorites. All right, I did get to see Mel Bing and Anderson in the red shirt. Now, I had a pretty good relationship. Previously when I would work, I would have like an hour and a half each day just to hang out with these kids. And I really enjoyed it. Anderson and I, we really got along. Now last year I asked him, what do you want me to bring you if I get to come back next year? And he said, bring me some shoes. So I brought him some shoes. We compared sizes and I thought, okay, you'll be a little bit bigger, and okay, I got him some shoes. I could not believe the relief on that boy's face when he realized what I was doing. That I had gotten him some shoes that I had remembered. Man, he kicked off his flip-flops and that beam on his face, I won't soon forget it. I also gave him a watch. My dad gave me a watch to give to him, and I told him that, and he was really touched. Now, this girl could not wait to show me. She had made this jacket, and she had done the embroidery on it, and she wanted me to see it. Now, Anderson, remember I told you that men hold hands, okay? He took me by the hand and led me he wanted to show me everything. He showed me all I could. There's new construction, which prevented us from having the clinic at the orphanage, but there's new construction. They built these 3 beautiful classrooms on top of what used to be just a tin shed. And I got home and I realized, well, where are the photographs of all the new construction, all the new changes? And then I realized, I never let go of that boy's hand. And you know what? I didn't want to either, because that boy needed me, and it's here forever, that's for sure. All right. Annual Child Care Clinic. Now, Hope for Haiti's Children is there all year round, okay, through the school year. This medical clinic, it's big enough that it takes 2 weeks to do it, but it's only a small part of what goes on all year long. This is actually me right here. You can see the blue shirt right there. By the way, any shirt that you see, any shoes that you see, they're all in Haiti. I leave it all there. I'm rich, I don't care. I have a closet full of stuff. I can only wear one clothes at a time, so every pair of clothes I take, I leave there. I come back with a little bag with some underwear in it. No, that's just what we do. But this is a very small but incredibly important part of the kids' well-being. There are over 10,000 people for every 1 doctor in Haiti. 10,000 to 1. If you do the math, somebody never gets to see a doctor. You know, never get to. So this is important. That was hard. When we got there, we had 4 people go down sick. I mean, really sick. This is not fair because he wasn't sick, he was just taking a break. This is Dr. Dave. I got to brag about Dr. Dave. This man has been retired from medicine for years, but he still keeps his license active so he can buy medicines and pharmaceutical needs for Hope for Haiti. The first week we carried in a huge bag of medicines, just walked right through customs. It was nice. But his wife used to come. She saw that they used to carry the kids around in a box truck, which is basically just a truck with no windows. It had some benches in it. She raised a bunch of funds to buy a school bus that the Air Force flew over here for free, and that school bus is what we ride in now, and they use it all year long. So because of his wife, we have a nice school bus. All right, I mentioned the schools. We have Cité Soleil, we have Delmas, we have Cazot. We have Dubuisson, Mirabelet, and Paget. These are all Church of Christ buildings that have schools in them that are supported by Hope for Haiti's children, one child at a time. We have Brageois, Robert, and Hinch. Now, I hinted a little bit last year. I told you about Cité Soleil, City in the Sun. Looks like a beautiful place, huh? This church and school has to pay protection money to a gang, to a local gang, in order to function in this city. This city is part of Port-au-Prince. It's on the southern side of the airport. You had to pay protection money. Now, I was explaining that to a lady, and she got all disgusted. Well, you shouldn't have to do that. It's like, well, would you rather they not be there? Cité Soleil, I'll tell you what, I looked it up on Wikipedia. Read it for yourself. An extremely impoverished and densely populated commune located in Port-au-Prince, metropolitan area of Haiti. Cité Soleil originally developed as a shanty town and grew to an estimated 200 to 400,000 residents. In other words, they don't know how many are there. The majority of whom live in extreme poverty. The area is generally regarded as one of the poorest and the most dangerous areas in the Western Hemisphere, and is one of the biggest slums north of the equator. We drove through there once going to Tomazo on Thursday. We had a full police escort doing it. I didn't ask why. I was just happy they were there. Kidnapping and holding for ransom is a big thing in Haiti. They won't do it to big groups, but they'll do it to small, individuals. Is it dangerous? No. I won't say that because my wife is here. But whatever. If I died on a mission trip, think about my legacy. It'd be preserved forever. Oh, he died doing service to the Lord, so I'm not worried about that. Doesn't bother me a bit. Okay, this is why we're here. This is how we change this nation right here, one child at a time. Now, let me show you some of these kids. I love this girl in the blue here. You'll see this pose the whole time. I saw her walk in the door. She reminded me of Aubrey. I don't know why. She just acted like her. She bounced like her. And every time you saw her, same old pose, just like that. Anyway, this girl had an important job. It was her job to pull the beans that had worms. That was her job. All right, so part of the medical mission, everybody gets an eye test. So to get an eye test, they would dilate the eyes, which means it's really bright. So every kid got a pair of sunglasses. And kids in sunglasses, they're the same wherever you go. Now my man here, he gets two pitches because his name is Jeff. I actually met about 8 or 9 Jeffs. I would tell him, that's a really strong name. Every time I'd say it. Sometimes we would pose. I'd put on my glasses, everybody pose. Now you see the girl with the tongue? That's just one of their customs. Every time I'd take a picture of these little kids, they would stick their tongue out. I had to edit a lot of photos because you get tired of seeing their tongue, but that's just what their custom is. That's what they do. All right. Now we're at Tomazo. Actually pronounce it is Tomazo, but I'll say Tomazo because it's easier that way. This is the orphanage that was built out in the middle of the country. This was built in the middle of basically nowhere. And it has turned into an oasis. They've started off with 12 kids. They have doubled their capacity. There's a church there and a school that holds over 200 kids. In fact, we saw 220 kids. This is the church building that is here. Now, I had a wild experience when I walked into here. Also, I'll back up a little bit. There's a lot of every time I go there, the improvements are just amazing. They built this wall around the entire 40-acre complex. There's a wall inside around the orphanage, which you can see here in the back, but they have solar-powered lights. People have been donating money left and right. It's been pretty amazing. This is the entrance, the front gate. Now, to start the orphanage, they needed a water. They needed a well. They dug a well, they found good water. They pumped it up, they made sure they had enough. Then, they took the rest of the water and they pumped it outside of the complex so that the rest of the village could enjoy that. You know, what does it take to grow a village? It takes water. Also, if you want to know what's going on in a village, where do you go? You go to the well. We have stories about that, don't we? You go to the well. Last year, Tanya Hunt went out to the well during our session to see what was going on, and here's what she found. Nope, wrong one. I'm not ready. Okay, I'll back up. This is the inside of the building. As you can see, it is packed. Remember I talked about no personal space? Here's my experience. We were a little late getting there with traffic. So when we get there, normally we get there, we set up, and then the kids come in. But they were already there. I'm carrying equipment, and I have to go all the way through. I have to walk up the middle aisle and go all the way front and then take a left to deposit some stuff in a room for the doctors. As I'm walking through, I hear, Chief, Jeff, Chief, Chief, Jeff. I hear my name, and it's coming from here, it's coming from here, it's coming from here. And I can't believe it. And I stop, and they're all looking at me, and fellas, what are you doing? Oh, I loved it. It was so cool. They remembered me. My first year, my job was just to play with them. I wasn't a photographer. I was called child waiting. Normally when they would funnel through, I would basically keep them occupied. I had a couple interpreters, and it was a blast. But they remembered me. To have them remember my name, and I thought, okay, I was wearing a name badge. I thought they were looking at it, but I get to the end and I look, and it was turned over backwards. They knew my name, which just floored me. All right. This is a view from the side. You can see these little windows. Windows right here. This is just another window that I took from the other side. You can see just how big this room is. I always have a lot of fun with the kids. I always interact with them. I show them my funny face. They show me theirs. Like with this next one, I said, okay, show me your best funny face. And this is what I got. But as you can see, the kids, they're just precious. They are full of hope. There is a future there. That's not mean. That's not violent. All it needs is a chance. Look at some of these faces. This girl here. The Haitian people are tiny. When I say tiny, I mean tiny. I have yet to meet a woman that is taller than me. And that's not saying a lot. Smiths, you guys would be giants among men, let me tell you. And you would love it because they would want to know you. They would want to come next to you. They would want to say, they would want to touch you. They would, what is this? Wow, why? But they're a tiny people. I would like you to meet Cynthia Lindsay. I just thought she was cute. I just thought if you let me go back every year, I'll take a picture of her and we'll watch her grow up. What do you think? All right, this is Mervin's Lane. This is the guy that Christy and I decided to sponsor last year. Something has changed with him and his family. This is him this year. He's got that stare. He's got that horrible look on his face, and his whole family had it. I kid you not. I went through the medical mission just with him, just to show you what it is. The first part is the interview. They talk to him through an interview. There's several specific questions we ask, just general questions to find out how they're doing, what their needs are. They go through height and weight. My man only grew an inch this year. From last year, that's not enough, is it? He only grew an inch. That bothers me. But, okay, he gets an eye test. You can see the eye test. His older brother is getting the eye drops. getting tortured over there. They go through 2 different nursing stations, you know, for the vitals and whatever nurses do medical-wise. Here he is with the second station. This is his little brother, Tony. He was really, really protective of him. I don't pretend to know what they were doing with the eye test, but he was real concerned about Tony. What are you doing to my little brother? Here he is again with another doctor doing the eye thing. Hey. And even more tests. Mervyn Adane. Now you can't see it, but right here it says, James and Christy Boles, Golden, Colorado. My first name is James, so that's who I am. But these looks, this will bother me forever. He didn't have that last year. The smile was there, but that's his little brother. He had that same stare. His older sister, Shishlandi Adane, she had the same stares. I don't pretend to know what was going on. Because normally, I'm good with children. I can get any kid to smile. I can get any kid to like me. This was as good as I could get with her. That was just it. So something needs more hope. But you know what? I passed this on. I talked to the powers that be about it because it bothered me really bad. And they were going to look into it, absolutely. Because most kids are happy. Well, this is the pharmacist. They didn't need any medicines from the pharmacy, so I just show it because it's there. But we had a full-blown pharmacy. They all get deworm pills, you know, as part of the thing, so they can deworm. And they're kind of nasty tasting, so they give them gummy bears to go along with it. This is the gift station. This is what they enjoy. And also, all the gifts and stuff that you guys donate, or that we collect, they end up here. You can see these bags. We had made those the night before. Every bag had, you know, like a toothbrush, 2 pens, 2 pencils, washcloth, soap, toothpaste, stuff like that. And then based on their age and their sex, that's when they get the socks and the underwear and the deodorant and whatever else we can give them that has been donated. The kids love that part, by the way. And also, if there's any other special gifts that have been donated from their sponsors, that is when they receive them. They're very happy. Now here I've taken you back to Delmas to show you the final station. As you can see, these 2 young men, they've gotten their sacks, their gift bags, they're all full, they're happy. And then they go to the final station where they turn in their paperwork, and then they get a copy of the photograph that the photographer has taken from the previous year. Because it's not like they're going to get a copy of the photos, you know, well, it's not like they're going to have cameras anyway. Here's a few of the photos that I took of the kids. And they will get this photo next year. But look at these faces. Look how innocent and just beautiful that they are. They just need a chance, people. $36 a month from an individual puts this kid in a uniform, gives them a backpack, gives them a lunch, gives them books. $36 a month. That's all it is. And we met her last year, actually, Sauni. All right. I would like to introduce you to Fednard Cerilius. You guys know him, but you don't even know him. This is who we sponsor as the church through the missions committee. We sponsor this guy. We give $500 a month is committed to this gentleman. Now he's a little guy. When I say little, I mean little. Look at this guy. He's tiny. It's so hard to imagine. Look at his little pink shoes. You can see there's what used to be an X on the ground. I would say, "Campe su X, s'il vous plaît." Stand on the X, please. Y suis, and smile. I would tell him. So I could make kids smile. But look at this kid. He's all boy, but it's just hard to explain just how tiny he was. This is his family. This is Watson, his little brother. This is Ninise, his sister. And that was Fedson on the right, one of his bigger brothers. And then you have Fedson here. This is Fednard. Look how cute he is. And Stefani, one of his older sisters. Once again, a large family. And they probably all live in one room. All right. This is one of my favorite photos. I just turned around and clicked. I took it. But you can see big sister reaching around just to smack Fednard in the back of the head. Why? I don't know. Big sister, why would you do that? That's a good big sister, huh? That was just pretty funny. But before you know it, boom, the week's over. No, wait a minute. It went really fast. Man, you work 12 to 14-hour days. The week goes really fast. This is a view taken off of Port-au-Prince, and you can see a river that runs through it. That's also known as a sewer because there is no infrastructure. But I was really mixed this year. I wasn't ready to leave. There was no way I was done. I wanted to stay there. And you think about the thought of going back to normal. From this back to here, that was depressing to me. But you know what? You have no choice but to go back to normal. But you know what? I don't have to be normal. I know that these trips are a gift from you guys. They're a gift to me. And it would be a shame to waste it, right? I also knew that once I left here, I had a 9-hour layover in Miami. Granted, it was 68 degrees. Granted, I had a south-southeast wind about 6 miles an hour. But I had a 9-hour layover. But it was kind of nice. I actually went up on the parking lot of Miami International Airport. There's probably 1 million people that go through that thing a day. I sat up on the very top floor of the parking lot, collected myself, wrote what I was going to talk to you, and I saw about 3 people for about 6 hours. That was really refreshing. It really was. And I'll be honest, I could have come home 2 hours earlier. I could have caught a flight and got home 2 hours earlier. I've already apologized to my wife. But they wanted $75 to do that. $75 for 2 hours. And I'll admit, there's a time I definitely would have jumped all over that. 75 bucks, pooh, get me home. But things have changed. The situation has changed. I know that for less than $75, I can put this kid through 2 months of school and food and uniforms. This is also a cool photo. This is Fednard, I'm sorry. This is a small soccer ball. Jim Foster bought this soccer ball. It's one of the smaller ones. It looks really big next to him, but you see the smile on his face? That's a good smile. But that $75 meant something else, because if you look at this photo closer, you look right over his heart on his name tag. It says Golden Church of Christ, Golden, Colorado. Oh, look at that. So therefore, it wasn't my money, it was your money. That $75 meant enough for me to not come back early. It was that important. Okay, so I know I left you hanging about these guys. Last year, the boys were out pounding rocks. Why? Because they didn't have any toys. That's what they had. So, if you look really close, you can see that the little guy, he's got medical issues. You can just see it in his eyes, man. He's got stuff going on that is sad. I hate talking about kids being suffering, but you can tell. But I would like to introduce you to the Thomas brothers a year and a half later. This is Tenor on the left, and call him Junior, but his name is Job on the right. Now Tenor on the left, he's still got medical issues. He's still got stuff that's going on. Man, you hug him, he's got bumps in his back. I mean, it's scary. But if John Gerard had not invited somebody to come to Haiti to see what we could do, if they hadn't dug that well in Tomazo, if they hadn't started this school, what are his odds now? Before that, he didn't have a chance. Now he might, you know. We know that not everybody's going to go to heaven. We know that. But they need hope. All you have to do is give them a chance. We don't decide who goes to heaven and who doesn't. It's our job to give hope. Because one thing I learned, this is an oasis in the middle of a desert. Trust me. These orphans, they're better off than most kids in Haiti. They really are. It's a beautiful country. There is potential everywhere. The biggest thing I learned about hope is never, ever take away hope from somebody, because chances are that might be all they have left. And once you lose hope, what do you have left when it comes down to it? That's what I have. I do have a movie I can show you. It is 7 o'clock. If you have to leave, I understand. I have a little 5-minute movie that I made that shows the kids and gives you a tour of the clinic. So we'll let him, so thank you. And do you have any questions while we're waiting? Yeah.
What about the farmers? How do the farmers live?
Well, the farmers, part of the problem with farmers is there's not that much dirt left. It used to be a rainforest. When there's poverty and you have wood and you need to cook food, you cut down a tree, you don't plant another one. So they have, and then the dirt washes away. So there are some farmers, that last shot I showed you, had some farm to it, but there really aren't that many farmers. So in the lowlands they have some, but it's just not like they can farm anywhere. Huh?
All those people there in the city have to be fed.
Yeah, they do, and they struggle for it. They produce just enough food basically for a day a lot of times.
Where does that food come from?
It comes from small farms. It's backyards. It's everywhere that you can. When you fly over it, you see the gardens. They're raised up. They build them up with blocks and then throw dirt in the middle to try and give it some soil, because there's no soil. It all washed away. All right, let's watch this thing.
Okay, there's a little break in my action so I can tell you what's going on here. The children start here. This is the waiting area. And they start at registration. This is where we get their picture taken. There's my man Johnny. Security. All right, so here they get an eye test. Here's my man Ron, he's torturing people. Since everybody gets an eye test, they get eye drops. And they burn, apparently. Alright, so we go to height and weight. Hello. Everybody gets measured and detected. And then they get in line for the interview. This is the interview station. Everybody gets an interpreter. And they work it out. Lots going on with the interviews here. Okay, from the interview we go to nursing station. Nursing station, absolutely. Blood pressure, little temperature, I like it. Alright, more nurses. Say hi to Katura. Alright.
I have very mixed emotions about it.
So, after the nursing station, we have doctors. We got doctors over here. And then we go around to the eye doctor part. So since they get dilated,
I just didn't know if it was already done.
everybody gets a pair of sunglasses, otherwise it's really bright outside. Over here we got the pharmacy. Have having your own pharmacist rocks. It's a good thing. All right. So the best thing I can say about this is it's a really big room. Normally we've been packed into the Kazoo Orphanage. We're at the Delmas 28 Church of Christ, and it's a big room, as you can see. It's nice having it here. It really is. So from here, they got the worm pill and the gummy bears. This is the gift station. All the donations that have been made come through here. This is where the kids get them. So after they get their gifts, they cruise along, they are done. This is the final registration here with Charlene. And Charlene passes out photos, makes final notes. They get the photos from last year. Thank you, Charlene.
Hey, that was it. So guys, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate your support. Any questions? David?
Did the kids want to see themselves on the video?
Oh, yeah, lots of tongues. But yeah, what I was doing, I'd hold my camera, then I could hook it up to my phone and I'd walk around and they could see themselves, and that really just amazed them when they could do that. So it was always fun. I guess, of course, my question is, if you want to know how to help, let's talk.
You mentioned one girl that turned 18 and she has to do the orphanage.
Correct.
What is their prospect and what do they do? I mean, as a part of this, are they teaching them skills to go out and find a job? Or?
Yeah, that's one thing I really did not explain. They're not just warehousing children. Absolutely not. After 6th grade, you start learning English. And they teach them to read French. So they can, when they graduate or leave, they can speak 3 languages. They teach them skills, absolutely. Business skills, sewing skills, everything they can do, because they're not, plus they're just teaching them Christian ways, the love of Jesus and the way you should be out in the world and to love your neighbor, to go from there. So that's what impressed me. Since this is my 3rd year, I've been going long enough so I can see the return, the kids that do graduate and come back and they're working jobs and they're doing what they can. So it makes a huge difference. I've been impressed with, I know, I can use a word I've never used before. I have fully vetted this organization. I've never said that before. So yeah, I really have. It's, all the stuff you see built, and that's different fundraising. The $36 a month that Christy and I and the church, give, that just is for one kid, puts them in uniforms and food and school and just a chance. Because you saw the kid, they're just kids. They don't know that they're in a bad situation unless somebody tells them they are. But I do appreciate you guys, supporting that and supporting me, because it's a gift, and I thank you. Thank you, sir.